remote work could bring benefits to neurodiverse employees. Hi there, everyone. Jeff here, and welcome to Plain English lesson number 350. Nice round number, right? That makes it easy to remember the URL, plainenglish.com/350. That's where JR has posted the transcripts, translations, video, and all the other lesson resources. plainenglish.com/350. Coming up today, neurodiversity is a term to describe people who have intellectual or learning disabilities like autism, dyslexia, or attention deficit hyperactive disorder, or ADHD. The workplace presents a number of challenges specific to the neurodiverse, but the world of remote work might open up new opportunities to people who struggled to be their best in a traditional work environment. The expression we review today is catch all, and we have a quote of the week. If you've spent any time working for or with a big business, you've probably heard about the importance of diversity in the workplace. Long ago, large organizations realized that having a workforce made up of people with a variety of backgrounds, viewpoints, abilities, and life experiences is an advantage. Having a workforce comprised of people with all different characteristics can help a company solve problems, generate creative solutions, spot opportunities, and connect with customers. Many, not all, but many large organizations see a diverse workforce as a competitive advantage. We can debate the extent to which organizations are successful in this respect, but many at least strive to build a diverse workforce. But there is one type of diversity that for too long has been overlooked or simply not prioritized in business, and that is neurodiversity. Neurodiversity is a catch-all term to describe people who have intellectual or learning disabilities like Asperger's syndrome, autism, dyslexia, and severe social anxiety. In this lesson, we'll say that people are neurodiverse if they have one of these characteristics. We'll say they are neurotypical if they do not. And, of course, we'll recognize that everyone is an individual. Not every neurodiverse, nor every neurotypical person is the same. Speaking generally, however, neurodiverse people can bring many advantages to the workplace. They can be great at math. They tend to have high technical skills. They can concentrate for long periods of time and spot patterns that are invisible to others. They are often very loyal and dedicated to their jobs. But the typical workplace environment can make it difficult or impossible for a neurodiverse person to be their best. They can suffer from sensory overload. That means they find it hard to function when they receive too much visual or audible stimulation. That can be from fluorescent lighting, sounds coming from all directions, and constant movement of people within their line of sight. As one autistic worker put it, there's no such thing as a welcome surprise. The typical hustle and bustle of an office is something that many neurotypical people can block out. Some even like it, but it can be crippling to a neurodiverse person. Likewise, the commute to work, riding on a train or a bus, can heighten anxiety or cause sensory overload. If a neurotypical person arrives at work a bit tired from the commute, a neurodiverse person might start his or her day exhausted and stressed out. This is all not to mention the social interactions that are the lifeblood of the modern white-collar office. Meetings, phone calls, happy hours, and casual encounters are all opportunities to build connections with others, promote yourself, and work collaboratively on a common goal. But social interactions can be very difficult for neurodiverse people to manage. Taking turns in a conversation, maintaining eye contact, reading body language, making idle conversation, and knowing when to get down to business. These are things that come naturally to many neurotypical people, but they are a minefield for the neurodiverse. They often don't know how to react, or they have social tics that make them seem different. These tics could be rocking back and forth, avoiding eye contact, or speaking in a monotone voice. These challenges mean neurodiverse people suffer in a workplace that prizes social status. Speaking generally, neurodiverse individuals have a hard time getting a job, and once they have one, they have a hard time keeping it or getting promoted. This is a personal tragedy for the individuals and a missed opportunity for society at large. That may be changing now, however. Prior to COVID, neurodiverse individuals had to ask for accommodations, specifically the ability to work from home, where it's easier to concentrate and where they can more easily manage the stress of social interactions. Unfortunately, though, this permission was often not granted. Company managers said that being present in the office was necessary to do a job. Until, that is, even the neurotypical had to work from home every day. All of a sudden, companies realized that FaceTime in the office was not as essential as they had previously assumed. Even clients didn't mind having video calls. So, neurodiversity advocates are optimistic that companies will be more open to allowing remote work and other accommodations that will help people of all abilities thrive in the workplace. It might mean that some neurodiverse workers will have opportunities that would previously have been denied to them. Tools like Zoom, Slack, and Microsoft Teams allow users to dial up and dial back the social interaction according to their preference. Being able to turn off video on a Teams call is a nice plus if you're having a bad hair day. Turning down the volume is nice if you have a headache. These are small benefits for a neurotypical person, but for a neurodiverse person, that level of control over video and audio can be the difference between being productive and being overcome with anxiety. It's nice to see big companies making a special effort to accommodate autistic and other neurodiverse workers. SAP, a software company, JP Morgan Chase, a bank, Microsoft, and EY, an accounting firm, are all implementing special hiring programs to attract and retain neurodiverse workers. You can certainly imagine there's a lot to do in software, banking, accounting, and consulting that fits the skills that the neurodiverse bring. Today's expression is catch-all. Earlier in today's lesson, I said that neurodiversity is a catch-all term for people who have Asperger's syndrome, autism, dyslexia, and other similar conditions. Neurodiversity is a catch-all term, meaning that this one word is intended to mean or catch all those other smaller terms. Of course, a person suffering from extreme anxiety will have different needs from someone on the autism spectrum. And even two people with Asperger's syndrome won't have the same needs or preferences. However, it is useful to use the word neurodiverse instead of listing every possible type of condition every single time. A catch-all term helps us speak in general terms. Speaking of diversity, Hispanic is a catch-all term. I'm not sure how common this word is outside the United States, but it's a term used in our official government statistics. It refers to any person with a national origin in Spain or a Spanish-speaking country in Latin America. It's a totally arbitrary term, but the U.S. Census asks about it on demographic surveys, so the term endures. But it's a catch-all term for Spain, Mexico, Cuba, and Central and South American countries. Don't ask me why, but an old law in the United States requires that the census gather information on who is of Spanish descent or who has a national origin in a Spanish-speaking country. It would be cumbersome. It would be difficult to list every possible country on the census forms. It would even be difficult to say Spanish-speaking countries in Latin America or the Caribbean or Mexico every single time. So, what do? They use a catch-all term, Hispanic. It's a catch-all term because it describes many factors. Precipitation is a catch-all term for any type of water that falls from the sky. Rain would be the most common type of precipitation. People in Jerusalem experienced another type this year, snow. But if you live in a northern country, you know there's sleet, freezing rain, and hail. All of those are water in different forms. Now, if you don't want to say specifically, or if you don't know specifically what kind of weather it was, but if you know it was some type of water falling from the sky, you can use precipitation because it's a catch-all term. We've had more precipitation this week than any week all winter long. You can say that if you mean to talk about a combination of snow, rain, and sleet. Artificial intelligence is a catch-all term. People use the term all the time, but it's a very generalized term used to describe a wide range of specific technologies. Some AI technologies are about making decisions. Others are about parsing language. Others are about machine learning to spot patterns, and so on. If you say artificial intelligence, you're using a catch-all term. That's usually okay if you're speaking in general terms, but you should recognize that catch-all terms aren't specific. You could propose implementing artificial intelligence at work. You might be thinking a machine learning tool to help summarize legal documents, but your boss might think you want to replace the whole office with robots. That's the danger when using a catch-all term like artificial intelligence. Wellness is another catch-all term. Have you heard this one? It's hard to give a precise definition because it's such a catch-all term. At work, employee wellness generally means a variety of benefits and privileges that let you be healthy. In a hotel, it might be about the spa or the fitness center, but it might also refer, these days, to cleaning protocols. At your doctor's office, wellness could mean getting regular, proactive checkups instead of coming only when you're sick. So because it has all these types of meanings, wellness is a catch-all term. Does your country have a Green Party? Germany does, Australia does, Brazil does, Ireland does, as do many Scandinavian countries. There's a green political party in 90 countries in the world. Wow, that must be a popular movement. A single political party name is in 90 different countries. Well, it's not what you think. You see, a Green Party is a catch-all term. In the United States, the Green Party is a very minor political force made up of people committed to environmental and consumer activism. In Germany, the Green Party was committed to retiring nuclear power. They are more mainstream than the Greens in the US. In Brazil, The Green Party focuses more on social equity and sustainable development. A Green Party is generally going to be left-wing, focused on the environment and equality, but it's such a catch-all term. What the Greens stand for in Belgium won't necessarily be a factor for the Greens in, say, Turkey. We were speaking about neurodiversity in today's lesson, so I found this quote. It's by the scientist Terence Grandin. She says, "The most interesting people you'll find are the ones that don't fit into your average cardboard box. They'll make what they need, and they'll make their own boxes." Indeed, they do. Where would we be without people who make their own boxes in life? And that's all for today's lesson. Congratulations on making it to the end. And some of you have made it to the end of all 350 lessons. If that's you, then double congratulations. If that's not you, then that's okay. If you ever need some extra English practice over and above the new lessons, you can always explore at plainenglish.com. Our full library of lessons is available there, and it's even easier to explore as a free member. Remember, we're here every Monday and Thursday, and coming up this Thursday, we'll talk about the tantalizing idea of vaccine passports. But while they hold some promise, they're not the magic bullet you might think they are. Remember to join us on Thursday. See you then.